What's up guys, back with another Dogman video since the last one did so good. But unlike the last one where I just showed a bunch of Dogman viral clips, today I'm going over 3 of the most credible Dogman true crime stories ever recorded. All of these attacks are fatal. Of course, the government's never going to admit that a Dogman attacked anyone, and all of these stories are unsolved, so we don't know for sure if there are Dogman attacks. These cases are just attacks that a lot of people suspect a Dogman was really what killed these people. Smash the like button right now, hype the video up, and make sure you guys subscribe. And if you got any more ideas for future videos, let me know in the comments. With all that being said, let's get it.
Just before dawn on Friday, February 19th, 2019, the Chavez family was jolted awake by something outside. Their dogs barking frantically, mixed with sounds of what they believed was a cat screaming. When they rushed outside to investigate, they were met with a horrifying sight. Their dogs were gathered near a drainage ditch, where Brenda Hamilton was found submerged in water up to her shoulders. Despite the screams that were heard, there was no cat anywhere in sight. Mr. Chavez pulled her from the ditch while his wife immediately ran to go get help from neighbors. That neighbor placed a call to 911. Emergency responders arrived to a scene that made little sense. Miss Hamilton had suffered catastrophic injuries, severe damage to both arms and her scalp, and parts of her body had been consumed. Investigators initially suspected a bear attack, prompting the placement of wildlife traps and cameras in the area, but no bear was ever captured or recorded. Investigators discovered a large amount of blood scattered across the roadway. It formed a trail that led directly to the drainage ditch where Miss Hamilton was found. From there, she was rushed to the hospital and placed in intensive care. Despite efforts to save her, she died 2 days later. No eyewitnesses ever came forward. The timing made that almost inevitable. It was a February morning, and the attack occurred sometime between 5:15 and 5:30 a.m., when it was still completely dark. Miss Hamilton was outside because it was part of her daily routine. She took a walk every morning to stay healthy at an old age. About an hour after the attack, the 2 dogs that were found near Miss Hamilton were examined by authorities. The animals showed no aggression toward law enforcement at all. Strangely, neither dog was wet, and there were no visible traces of mud or blood on any of them. Authorities later stated that most of the evidence on Miss Hamilton had been destroyed or washed away in the drainage ditch water. On the day of the incident, wildlife officials collected several pieces of evidence and sent them to a forensic laboratory in Western Carolina for analysis. Fear spread quickly through the community. With no confirmed animal responsible, residents were left uneasy, knowing something violent had attacked a woman in the dark, and no one could say what it was. It was normal for dogs in the neighborhood to trail behind her during her morning walks. The 2 dogs found near her that morning were among them. According to her husband, none of those animals had ever shown aggression towards her in the past. Several hours after the incident, both dogs were examined. Testing revealed small traces of human blood on their paws and inside their mouth. Even so, authorities placed them in isolation for 10 days and then later released them back to their owners. After reviewing the physical evidence alongside witness statements, the committee determined the dogs didn't pose a danger. Investigators also analyzed material left on a flashlight that she'd been carrying. Those samples failed to match any of the dogs known to the area. Bears, alligators, and coyotes are known to live in the area, but early DNA analysis ruled out every native animal to the area. In DNA terms, the label canine is broad. It includes everything from domestic dogs, coyotes, to wolves. Yet even with that wide classification, the results led nowhere. All researchers knew was that whatever attacked Miss Hamilton belonged to the canine family. And after reviewing all of the evidence, investigators still couldn't determine what kind of canine was responsible. But as public pressure grew and questions kept coming in from people in the town, the details surrounding the case began to change. Even the official police documentation was altered after the fact, something that should never happen. And that's where the story starts to unravel. Early on, attention shifted toward the 2 dogs that regularly accompanied Miss Hamilton during her walks. As expected, her her DNA was present on them. But when authorities and emergency responders arrived, the animals showed no hostility at all. There was no aggression toward the officers, no aggression towards her laying in the ditch. And that matters, because when she was discovered, she was still alive. If the dogs had been responsible for the attack, they wouldn't have simply stopped attacking her. But yet, they were calm. When investigators began surveying the area, they documented wet impressions on the roadway. At first glance, those prints were brushed off as belonging to the two dogs near Miss Hamilton. But that explanation only holds up if you stop reading there. Buried deeper in the records is a detail that changes everything. An animal control officer on the scene reported that the prints were unusually large, larger than any known local animal, including bears. Even more unsettling is that the prints seemed to cross the road in just 3 steps. The injuries made the mystery even worse. Bite patterns on her body didn't correspond to any known animal. Even the amount of teeth didn't line up to any known canine or land animals. The wounds were described as tightly grouped, closer in resemblance to multiple rows of tight punctures than any normal bite mark. Some compared them to similar to a shark bite, something that simply doesn't belong on land. No animal on record matched those bite marks. As fear spread and no culprit was named, some in the community began pointing to a black panther. A relative of Hamilton claimed she believed a cougar was responsible, saying that she saw one, or something she thought was one, near her home weeks after the attack. She also reported hearing unfamiliar sounds afterward, low moans, growls, and scratching on her house. But there's a problem with that theory. The bite marks didn't match a cat, and cougars have never been officially documented living in North Carolina. Early reports described Hamilton as partially consumed, implying that the attack wasn't defensive, it was predatory. Her injuries were concentrated on her arms and head, consistent with someone fighting off an attacker at or above her height. There were no major wounds on her legs and torso. If multiple dogs or canines had dragged her down, those injuries would be expected, but they weren't there. Cougar attacks typically involve an ambush and a lethal bite to the neck. While some investigators briefly considered that possibility, the DNA evidence eliminated cats entirely. Then, parts of the record began to change. Initial reports stated that she was alive for multiple days after the attack. Early articles said she was conscious in the ambulance. Over time, those details were quietly altered or changed. Evidence of the original wording still exists, preserved in early online videos and a Change.org article that was never updated. Another troubling detail: authorities claim that she never gave a statement and labeled her uncooperative. Many believe that wording exists for a reason, because whatever she might have said to authorities didn't fit an acceptable explanation. If her final words described something unnatural, something unknown, panic would have followed. Today, the case remains unresolved. No animal matched the DNA. No bite pattern matched a known predator. Key details were revised after public scrutiny, and that's why the attack on Brenda Hamilton is considered by many to be one of the most compelling alleged Dogman cases ever recorded. What do you think happened? This next case comes out of Kentucky, in a little town down by Montgomery Creek, about a 13-year-old boy named Corey Godsey. The time that this attack happened was approximately 6 p.m. on February 19, 2020. There was an anonymous 911 call about a possible dog attack on a little boy. When they finally found Corey Godsey, he wasn't near his home or in an open area. He was found hundreds of feet up a steep hill, deep in a wooded section of land so thick that first responders struggled just to reach his body. He had several injuries, and part of his body was missing. Authorities immediately labeled it an animal attack, but they could not identify what kind of animal was responsible. That alone raised questions. A medical examiner should normally be able to tell whether wounds were caused by a canine or another type of predator, based on the bite patterns and damage. In this case, no specific animal was ever named. Even more confusing, the coroner reportedly received a call early on describing the attack as canine type, Yet there were no witnesses who could explain how they knew that. No one has ever clarified who made the 911 call or what they saw. The location itself made the story even stranger. Corey was found roughly 400 feet up a steep wooded hill, yet there were no clear reports of animal tracks, fur, or signs of a predator dragging prey uphill. There was no obvious trail showing how whatever attacked him got him there. Around the same time, people living in the area began reporting disturbing sounds at night. Shane Everidge, who had lived there for about 30 years, said he was very familiar with the normal sounds of the woods. His family raised chickens there for years and would occasionally lose one, which he said was normal. Coyotes were common, and he knew what they sounded like. But this was different. Shane described a sound that was deeper than a coyote, more like a scream, sometimes almost a roar. At one point he said whatever it is, it went ballistic. He initially told police and the media that he believed it was a hellhound, but later recanted that statement, pulling back what he had said publicly. Then, in February, something else happened that rarely gets talked about. Llamas on a nearby farm were attacked, not just injured, attacked violently. 2 donkeys were also attacked about 5 miles away, and sheep were killed as well. These weren't simple predator kills. Their faces were torn apart, tongues were ripped out, lips were missing. Some of the animals were reportedly still alive and flopping when they were found. Whatever did this wasn't just killing to eat, it was mutilating. Wildlife officials admitted they had no idea what killed the animals. DNA samples were taken, and the results came back as canine in nature. But again, no specific species was mentioned. Investigators even ruled out normal dogs, saying that llamas are extremely territorial and capable of killing dogs. They can even kill wolves and coyotes with ease. In other words, they didn't believe ordinary canines could have done this. Officials later said that coyotes or mountain lions might have been responsible for Corey's death, but then contradicted themselves again. Wildlife experts stated that coyotes and mountain lions couldn't have carried a 100-pound boy up the mountain, especially one that steep and in the rain. 6 months later, in August of 2020, Kentucky State Police announced another development. Wildlife cameras picked up a pack of dogs in an old mine site close to where Corey was killed. The area was described as being full of caves, open mines, and dens, an environment where something could easily hide. The dogs were eventually captured. Police said the DNA on the dogs matched evidence found on Corey, but then they added something critical. The DNA found on Corey could not be confirmed as belonging to those dogs. Despite that, the animals were suspected anyway, largely because officials said that they were the only things in the area that could have killed Corey. The dogs were destroyed immediately. State police refused to say what DNA evidence was compared and what databases were used. The public was told the DNA matched, then told it couldn't be confirmed, and never showed how that conclusion was reached. At the same time, residents were warned to remain hypervigilant. Authorities told the community that the problem had been taken care of, yet the case was never closed, and they also just warned the public to still be careful. That contradiction is hard to ignore. If they were certain they found the right animals, there would be no reason to keep the case open. If they weren't certain, there'd be no reason for them to tell the public that the danger was gone. Officials even referred to the attack as an accident, which raised even more questions. How does an animal drag a child hundreds of feet up into a hill, mutilate him, and then leave behind no clear predator trail? And that's considered an accident? The city police leaned toward calling it a domesticated dog. The medical examiner refused to name a specific animal. The family does not believe it was a dog or a coyote. So what's left is a case where a child was found far uphill. An animal attack is confirmed but never identified. DNA was labeled canine without a species. Farm animals are brutally mutilated nearby. Witnesses hear terrifying sounds they've never heard before. Suspected animals are destroyed despite inconclusive DNA, and the public is told both it's handled and stay hyper vigilant. Whether this was a known animal or something else entirely, one thing is clear: the official explanation doesn't fully explain what happened to Corey Godsey. Christopher Allen Whiteley was 28 years old when he disappeared. He never learned to drive and spent most of his adult life in prison, serving time for aggravated assault and struggling with addiction. But in the months before his death, his life appeared to be turning around. He had been released from prison earlier that summer, had a steady job painting houses, and was staying with his girlfriend near Lippin, a small community near Hood County, Texas. On the morning of December 2nd, 2020, around 9 a.m., Whiteley left his girlfriend's house with a blue and white backpack. Because he didn't have a car, he planned to hitchhike to work. According to investigators, he took a shortcut through dense brush to get to Howell Road, a narrow country lane where he hoped to catch a ride. He never made it. The next day, a friend reported Whiteley missing. That evening, as the sun was setting, deputies searched the area between the house and Howell Road. Under a cedar tree, they found his backpack. About 15 feet away, in deep brush, they found Whiteley's body. Investigators said the brush was so thick it was a miracle they found his body at all. Justice of Peace Catherine Gwynn arrived to determine the cause of death. She had seen countless violent deaths before, but nothing like this. Whiteley's throat had been torn open from one ear to the other. His torso, forehead, and face had thin scratches all over it. He was shirtless despite the cold weather. Gwynn could not determine what happened and called the medical examiner's office for help. At first, the area was treated as a crime scene, but the very next day, Gwynn received a phone call asking if she'd seen the press release given by the sheriff's office that morning. The headline read, "Mountain lion attack leaves man dead." The sheriff warned the public to stay away while officials searched for the animal. The announcement stunned Gwynn. There had never been a documented mountain lion attack in Hood County. According to Texas Parks and Wildlife records, there had never been a confirmed mountain lion sighting there either. Media outlets nearby seized on the story, calling it Texas's first fatal mountain lion attack. Residents across North Texas began to worry, especially since a mountain lion was reportedly spotted a few days earlier. But this alleged sighting was nearly 100 miles from where Whiteley was attacked. Experts were already raising doubts. Game wardens visited the scene and found none of the normal signs of a mountain lion attack. There were no lion tracks, no scat, and no territorial scrapes. Texas Parks and Wildlife reviewed photos of the scene and immediately said that this was not a mountain lion attack. They noted the absence of canine tooth punctures, missing abdominal organs, and claw wounds typical of a lion attack. Within 150 yards, they found tracks from coyotes, deer, hogs, house cats, and dogs, but no mountain lion. Experts concluded confidently that a mountain lion did not attack Whiteley. They later brought a mountain lion skull to the medical examiner's office to explain why. Mountain lions kill by ambush, crushing the windpipe with precise wounds that leave small puncture marks and minimal blood. Whiteley's throat had been ripped open, and he died of blood loss, not suffocation. There were no claw punctures, no signs of feeding, and no evidence his body had been cached away to feast on later. The scene itself showed little disturbance, inconsistent with a lion struggle. Despite this, the investigation stalled. No DNA testing was ordered by the sheriff's office. Without a request, the medical examiner followed standard procedure and washed the body, eliminating potential evidence. Experts were baffled about how quickly this happened while there was still no cause of death confirmed. The only DNA testing performed was limited. Fingernail clippings were sent to a lab to look for mountain lion DNA. The test came back negative. 2 hairs found on Whiteley's clothing were identified as dog hairs. The sheriff's office said that the hair likely came from a dog at his girlfriend's house. Whiteley's mother disputed this, saying no dogs lived there. Despite these contradictions, the investigation was closed. In January, the medical examiner ruled Whiteley's death an accident caused by injuries of the neck due to an animal attack, removing any reference to a mountain lion. The sheriff's office accepted the ruling, but continued to publicly suggest it was a mountain lion, admitting they had no proof. Experts continued to raise concerns. Some experts said a dog attack was possible, but it raised serious questions. Whose dog? And was another person involved? involved. They wrote that law enforcement should consider homicide, noting Whitley was shirtless in freezing weather. He was also recently released from prison and coming from a house occupied by transient individuals. Whitley's family and friends believe there's far more to the story. They said that investigators rushed to a conclusion that required the least amount of work. They believe his criminal history made him disposable. Since his death, there has been numerous theories about what really happened to Christopher, including that it was a dogman, and they aren't just pulling that idea out of nowhere. The first thing that draws attention is the injuries to Whitley's throat. His throat was torn open from one side to the other, and he died from massive blood loss. That detail alone raises questions. Mountain lions, which were initially blamed, typically kill by crushing the windpipe. Their bites leave relatively small puncture wounds, and often surprisingly little blood. Whitley's injuries appear different. The damage suggests tearing rather than crushing, and the amount of blood indicates a violent ripping motion, not a controlled suffocation kill. Then there's the lack of physical evidence at the scene. Investigators found no tracks of a wild animal, no signs of a struggle at all. For a large apex predator, that's extremely unusual. Predators leave patterns and signs, but in this case, the scene was oddly clean, despite the fatal encounter. DNA only deepens the mystery. No comprehensive DNA was ordered before the body was washed, effectively eliminating the chance to identify an animal conclusively, and the limited testing that was done ruled out a mountain lion. The only real evidence that was found was dog hair, and Christopher had no dogs, and neither did his girlfriend. The way the attack unfolded also stands out. Authorities stated that Whitley was standing when he was attacked. There were no defensive wounds on his arms and legs. No signs that he'd been taken down to the ground first. That doesn't align well with typical dog or wolf behavior, which usually involves disabling their prey through their limbs before going in for the kill shot. An upright attack focused immediately on the neck points to something with both strength and intent. Medical examiners privately questioned whether a human could be involved. Even within official channels, no one could agree on what actually happened. When experts with decades of experience can't identify the predator, people begin looking at things like the Dogman. The speed at which this case was closed is another reason that suspicion remains. The death was ultimately ruled an accident caused by an animal attack, yet many investigative steps were never taken. No full DNA analysis, no predator identification, no extended follow-up, all pointing towards some kind of possible cover-up. And all these reasons are why the Christopher Whiteley case remains one of the best possible cases of a dogman attack.
What's up, guys? So I just finally moved into my new house. I'm right in the garage right now, and I was in the middle of the Dogman video when I got the call saying my house is finally good to go. So it was delayed by so long, and I even bought a different house than what I originally planned to get. But yeah, so I'm in the garage, and we're gonna take you through the garage, okay? So here we go. Come in through the garage. Got some nice places to hang the coats and stuff. Got nice space in here. Yeah, guys, I mean, this is the front door, and there's construction going on. This is a brand new neighborhood, guys, and we have more new storage here for more coats and stuff. There's a shelf here. Yeah, and so first we'll take you into this spare bedroom. I think I'm gonna use it for like a dog room. I don't even know what I'm gonna do with it, guys. But yeah, more closet space in here. This is kind of like a wasted room, in my opinion. Like, I don't know, I'd rather just have a bigger living room than have this room here. So guys, before I take you in here, I just want to let you know that this is no means like this giant mega mansion and everything like that. Probably every other YouTuber you know will probably have a nicer house than me. And that's okay, guys. Number one, I was banned for the last 5 years and I went broke. I went to zero. So this entire house I bought with money that I made after I was banned. And this entire house is paid in full cash. So I'll have it for the rest of my life. It cost me $0 to live here. All of my food is paid for free. My bills, My car is paid off. I have no debt. I have nothing. So yeah, like I don't even need to do YouTube, honestly. So yeah, this is paid in full, guys. So here we go. So we got a full stand-up shower in this half bath right here, which is cool. I mean, I could fill this place up with like people. Hey, you want to rent this room? $500. Boom. This is your bathroom. You know, it's not bad, guys. Down here's the basement. My dogs are in there. So I'm gonna show you the basement last. But the basement is probably like one of my favorite spots in this house. I'm just not gonna use it for at least a year. And you'll see why when we go down there. So yeah, guys, here's the main room. We got some nice speakers all up in the ceilings and stuff. I was eating some McDonald's. I have no appliances in here yet, guys. So there's gonna be like a mini fridge in there, or like a wine cooler or something like that. There's gonna be a microwave in here. In here I got the storage for like pantry. The house that I was gonna get was way more expensive, and it had a whole second kitchen in here. And it wrapped around from the front entrance, which was really nice. But guys, the ceilings are really tall in here, everywhere. This house is 2,400 square feet. But when I finish the basement, it's probably gonna be about 3,400 square feet, which is a pretty big house. Like I don't need to upgrade, guys. Like nobody needs a bigger house than this. I'm gonna be serious. Like even if you have a whole family of 5. So yeah, gas stove is gonna be here. The fridge is gonna be here. Dishwasher here. Dining room here. Now guys, I'm gonna include some pictures of outside. My entire backyard is a giant pond with like a big pathway all across. And in the daytime here, all I see is big giant pond. So like a big water view, which is awesome. And here's outside. Let's see if we can go outside real quick. So there's a balcony. I couldn't shovel it yet, but there's a pathway all across. There's a big pond all the way. So yeah, that's pretty nice. All right, so we're gonna keep on going. Got the nice fireplace, big ass ceiling here. The house that I was gonna get that they canceled on me, guys, they did it illegally, by the way, but because we had a firm deal, but they pulled out. I had an entire room like this, like huge room, probably the size of this whole entire area. It was just the living room, giant fireplace, and a huge cathedral ceiling, basically a slanted slope ceiling. And the entire upstairs floor was slanted slope ceilings, which was crazy. Okay, so we're gonna go up here. Got the cool little lights in there. Guys, this is not amazing, but this is really nice. I like this. This is perfect for me. I can have probably like 3 kids now, which I'm gonna do. Like this year, I wanna have at least 1. Like I don't even care about getting married. Just give me some kids. All right, so this is where I'm gonna film my videos. I'm probably gonna have like a desk here, and I'm gonna sit where you'll see me from this angle, probably. And over here, this is where I'm going to edit my videos. So, I mean, this is a pretty nice little space. This is just like a cheap stool I got. I have no furniture, guys, so I have to order all of that. So right now I'm actually editing the Dogman video right now. That's what I'm working on. It's not even finished yet. But if you're watching it in the Dogman video. So we got another bathroom in here. It's a pretty nice size. And let's see. All right, they're doing construction out there. There's a closet in here. Look, I could rent this bedroom out, $500, boom. And they can have this bathroom. Boom, I can rent this one out, $500. Probably more than that, guys, 600. Let's be honest here, 600, 600, 600. And then the downstairs one, 600. See, that's $1,800 a month right there, boom. I don't even need to do YouTube. All right, so Another place with some nice closet space. So all the ceilings have a cool texture on them, and it's really tall ceilings, guys. So it's really nice. Really nice ceilings. This little area is cool. Gonna edit here. I'm gonna film here. I'm going to relax down there and cook dinner down there. And I'm gonna sleep in here. So this is cool because it's got like another foot haul. Like this black area is about a foot higher than the rest of the ceiling. So it's probably like 11 foot tall ceilings, or I don't know how tall it is, but it's really high. And I got more Bluetooth speakers in there, which is here. I can do Bluetooth or USB, which is kind of cool. And yeah, I'm sleeping on a cot right now. I have no furniture, nothing. I don't even have appliances. And here's my bathroom. So got the double sinks. Here's my bathtub and my shower. It's got good lighting everywhere. Here's the toilet. And here's the closet, which has got a lot of space. Yeah. And the attic. So that's essentially it, guys. Oh yeah, let's go down in the basement now, and I'll show you why I like the basement so much. The reason my dogs are down there, guys, is because this entire house, there's no landscaping. It's really muddy outside, and I had them here yesterday, and they ran up here on the carpet with all muddy feet. I'm trying to let them out to pee. The one dog will not pee. I think he's scared or something. He hasn't peed in 24 hours. I'm worried that I put him upstairs and he's just gonna piss on the floor. I took him for like 3 walks. He won't pee. I don't know what's up. So he's got to stay down there until he pees, or he either pees on the floor or he pees outside when I take him for a walk. So let's go down here, guys. So now, favorite spot. So there's my dogs. Let's go down here. Come here. Okay. All right, guys. So got a massive ass basement, really tall ceilings. This is probably about 1,000 square feet down here, guys. But the best part about it is, guys, is that it's a walkout basement. So it's essentially it's not like a basement. It has big giant windows and an actual door here. So it feels like a real livable space, and it will be a livable space as soon as I finish it. But I'm not gonna have it finished for about a year, guys. Basically, yeah, it's probably gonna be $100,000, and I'm gonna wait about a year before I do it. But down here, I'm gonna build a nice bar, nice living area. I'm gonna have a hot tub in the back, and then there's a pond. There's a pond outside. So yeah, let me show you the mud. Let's see. Yeah, it's like really bad here, guys. Having the dogs, I mean, yeah, I don't know. The dogs are a problem right now. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, this is why it's the best part. Like, this is a cool spot. I'm either gonna have like a gym down here, a bar, and another living room down here. I could put another washroom, probably another bedroom down here. This is gonna be a huge ass closet, I guess. Like, I can go all the way back up in here. Like, it's really tall, guys. I don't know if you can really see, but it's tall down here. But yeah, guys, that's about it. So it's gonna be a nice house. I mean, I'm gonna live here. I don't need a mansion, guys. To be honest, I could buy a mansion, and I'm not going to. I could have bought a $3 million house, but I don't use debt, so I'm not gonna. I bought this house cash, and I could buy it over again 2 times. So, and I'm right 25 minutes from downtown in one of Canada's largest cities. All right, 25 minutes from downtown. So it's pretty crazy. All right, guys. So yeah, that's my house tour. I didn't feel like making a dedicated video for it. I just want to like focus on making scary videos and stuff like that. So putting a house tour out really didn't make sense. So for anybody who wanted to see it, now you know. Yeah, this is where I'm gonna be living for the next, at least until I get 2 kids. If I can get a girl in here, give me 2 kids, yeah, and then we'll get a mansion, and then we'll get Ferraris and stuff.